Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Stavaram Jangavam Vyaptam Yat Kinchit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayana Namaha Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha Shri Hanumate Namaha Shri Lakshmi Narayana Namaha Shri Nar Narayana Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha Namah Shivaya. Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our contemplation on the Vivek Chudamani in relation to the unfolding of the self, or what is known as the Atma. The Atma is actually our essential nature. Just hold on one second here. The Atma is our essential nature, the self, and it is actually the consciousness. So to actually discover what that is, the discovery of that, the Vivek Chudamani takes us sequentially, one step at a time, one concept at a time, and one sadhana at a time. So we were looking at yesterday verse number 21, and this is a very practical and very meaningful verse in terms of our day-to-day life, because Shankaracharya ji here is referring to the experience of bhoga. In the verse, the word that is used is bhoga vastuni. See, bhoga Vastyuni. Bhoga Vastyuni means the objects of the senses. So this is what we know in our life. As soon as a child is born, there is the experience of the senses and of the world. Of course, it is there. And to reach the Brahman, to reach the realization of God, to recognize that which is transcendent, one needs to be able to have this great vairagya. So vairagya is a very evolved state of living freely in the world of the senses, world of the objects, in every way. We do experience the world. So if you have like nice beautiful piece of music and you say, oh, how nice that is, you experience that. That's an experience. So how does vairagya connect with the experience of the senses? So vairagya doesn't mean that you're not experiencing what the senses are giving you. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean you just cut yourself off and don't experience anything. That's not what it is. When you are trying to realize the Brahman, vairagya is a quality initially within the mind that develops when a person realizes that the experience that is coming to me has a limitation, that there's a beginning, there's a peak point, there's an end. With that realization of the waves of experience called urmis, one begins to move into the state of vairagya. Now, what are the practical exercises that need to be done for something like this? Well, in our day-to-day existence, first we realize when we get up in the morning that we are getting up, then we're starting our daily routine. The first thing we realize is that we're going through a cyclical process every day. We're waking, dreaming, deep sleep. It's a cycle. We are bathing, we're brushing our teeth, we're doing all of the bodily activities, we're putting on clothes, we're eating breakfast. All of this activity is going on day in and day out. So because of its cyclical nature, we have to go through those activities and keep the body and the mind very clean, balanced, healthy in every way possible. Doesn't matter how old or what the stage of life anybody may be in. Now, with that kind of activity, then the possibility of moving into Vairagya comes about. Vairagya comes about when we recognize the mental power that is being used in the attachment towards the sense objects. So see, this point is very interesting. Anytime we are interacting with the objects of the senses, these are called Panchvishaya, anytime there is that interaction, energy is being used. Right now, Sachin is trying to examine Vivek Chudamani. Certain kind of energy is being used here. Certain amount of energy is being used here. And by using this energy to contemplate on the Vivek Chudamani, it is impacting my mind in a specific way. How is it impacting my mind? My mind is getting further and further absorbed in this verse number 21, trying to see the related ideas. That is my mental function right now. Is it not so? Obviously. Has to be. So the mental function through the senses, through the interaction with the object of the sense, based on one's desire and intention, is what uses energy. And that energy can either, let's put it this way, that energy can bind itself further, bind the jiva further into bhoga, or that same energy can liberate us into the moksha. There's two paths. In Upanishad, this is called Shreyas and Preyas. Upanishad talks about two paths. Shreyas is that which will take us towards the mukti, which is good for us, is beneficial for us, it will take us. And Preyas is that which is pleasing. Yes, pleasing is there. But if you just keep going after the pleasing experience, that is not going to take us to mukti. That will bind us into the transient nature of the samsara. So when we are interacting with the objects of the senses, we interact with the objects of the senses based on our desires. Right now, we have a couple of people online listening to this exposition. I'm also listening to it as I'm doing it. So there was a desire to do this. There's a desire to study this. Isn't it so? The same thing is true. If we say, okay, मेरे मन में ऐसी इच्छा होती है कि गणेश जी के मंदिर में आज दर्शन करने के चाहिए. We have some feeling, we want some experience, a desire is there. Good sattvic desire, very good desire, good quality desire. But same thing can happen. You say, well, okay, let's go to a really high-class restaurant. Each dish is like $50 and, very super. Like in Washington, D.C., they have some high-class Indian restaurants over there. We had gone one time with some friends and all that, many years back, many years back, just to accompany them. We don't really eat too much at restaurants. But the fact is that when we went there, every dish was like $50, $40, and all the senators and these big top guys were over there. I don't remember the name of the place. This was some 15, 20 years ago. So when you have that kind of desire, the experience is different. The energy quality is different. In every kind of experience and environment, our energy changes. If I say I'm going to go visit an old friend who I haven't seen for many years and have a nice dinner with that person, the experience is different. The energy is different. The thoughts are different. The thoughts are going to thoughts and the environment, our emotional experience, all of that is part of life. So how does all that relate to Vairagya? Vairagya is where we, in our ordinary life, we are still doing all of the things that we generally do. Maybe with some modification. But internally, the sense that I'm going to find ananda through this activity, that disappears. It is not that I'm going to find ananda through the strawberry shortcake or through a dinner or through a party or through a this or that. No. It is not a question of finding ananda through those things. What I will find are waves of pleasure and pain. Discovery of ananda is not in the objects, it is in the self. That the I, that is ananda. Anandoham. Anandoham means what? I am joy. If I am joy, how is it that I'm seeking joy? Because I don't have vairagya. Vairagya is a doorway into joy. It is a doorway into who I am. Vairagya is interacting without any type of karmic effect inside. Yes, you may go see an old friend. You still have enjoyment and everything. But the internal entanglement is not there. What is there is love. Love is there. Affection is there. Care is there. Good feelings are there. Good wishes are there. Even beyond that, seeing God in that person, that is there. Which is the most important thing. So there is no entanglement with any of the 5 objects. Shabda, Sparsha, Roop, Ras, Gandh. There is also no entanglement with any human being. And there's no entanglement with family members, with any human being, with any living being, with any object. There's no entanglement, yet there is love, affection, interaction as needed in our world. See the 2 points here. Very interesting, and this is what Vairagya is referring to here. He's not saying here that you stop seeing, that you stop hearing. He's saying the jihasa, the desire to give up, the desire to let go. What? The running after the pancha vishayas, the darshana, shravanadi bhihi, jihasa. See, tat vairagyam jihasa. Ya, meaning those individuals who are in that state of vairagya or wanting to develop vairagya. How are they? They are able to recognize their desires that are limiting them into people, places, things. People in the world, places of the world and the universe, and things of the world. That is what the 3 things everybody is bound with, attached to, and running after them. So Vairagya is stopping the running after them without stopping the interaction with them. You're still interacting, but you're not running after them to find joy. If your best friend is there, if you haven't seen for 10 years, and you have a 1-week vacation scheduled with that person, and something happens and it has to be cancelled, you are totally undisturbed. You will deal with it and move on. Sometimes we get so agitated when there is any disturbance in the family. Somebody makes one comment, just one word. Sometimes somebody speaks in the family and our mind is racing in 10 directions. We have all experienced that. Everybody has experienced it. It happens with friends. It happens with things that we're watching in politics or on TV or on YouTube or whatever. It happens in every situation. Vairagya is the interaction with others where the fountain of joy, that is the me, that is the Atma, is never forgotten. That is the strength of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta wakes you up and says, recognize your power. And Bhagwan Swaminarayan has accepted this point also. Many, many times. He said, Rajniti nu Vachanamrut. He said, Baliyo Bhakta, if you are able to recognize how much energy and power you have, you can utilize it to go as far as you want to go. Uddared atmanatmanam natmanam avasade atmaiva yatmano bandur atmaiva ripur atmanah. This is Bhagavad Gita. We looked at that verse at least for about a week or so last year sometime. But never forgetting the upasana of God. One may have tremendous strength and even great vairagya. One may actually be in this state that Adi Shankaracharya ji is talking about. But such a devotee, such a gnani does not stop bhakti. As I mentioned several times, I keep mentioning that because this development will happen. The development further and further and further will certainly happen, because if vairagya occurs in this world, people, places, things, and you are sleeping at night time, you're just resting, the transcendental, the different lokas, all the way up to Virat Purusha, all the way up to Virat Brahma. That's what he's saying here. See, Dehadi Brahma Paryante. All of those objects will appear. And to have Vairagya all the way up to the Brahma Loka. I can guarantee you nobody in scientific community knows anything about this. It's just that. Because it's beyond science. It's beyond our understanding. It is when we are internally in a state of true vairagya in this world. We're living, interacting, but the world isn't having any mark on us. There's no person that is having any mark on us. No situation is having any mark on us. Nothing that is happening in the world is having any mark on us. Wow, my God. And when that happens, and as Bhakti Upasana continues, the alokik, the higher lokas begin to appear. And Shankaracharya ji is saying that Vairagya extends all the way up to the Brahma Loka. The Satya Lok, Mahar Lok, Jan Lok, Tap Lok, all these lokas are there, all the way up to Brahmaji's Lok. And up to their Vishayas, the objects of the senses, are 100 times, 1,000 times greater in their experience. And none of that touches the person who wants to reach the Brahman, who wants to realize the Akshara Brahma. What an idea this is. You know, we get excited when we're going to Hawaii or Alaska, or if we have a chance to go there or some vacation. Oh, this is so beautiful. And it is. You know, I myself have gone to Hawaii. I went there for 2 weeks, 4 islands, and it's an extraordinary place. It's like a heaven on earth. Everywhere you look is picture perfect, right? People, easy to fall in love. Even something like that, that's just in this world. Just Svargalok ka jo experience, other planets and all. It might be 1,000,000 times greater than that. We don't know. But the fact is, why is he making this statement? Dehadi brahma paryante anitye anitye bhoga vastuni. It's anitya. Even the Brahmaji himself is going to go away. Brahmaji's life is 100 of his years. His 1 second is our 660 some years, something like that. He blinks his eye and so many galaxies are born and destroyed. There's such a massive time scale. When Brahma himself is not going to remain, who is going to remain? So that is Vairagya. And then what is Brahma? Is the Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv. Brahman is the infinite consciousness. So don't forget, people mistaken these two words. They don't understand what is the difference. It's a massive difference. That Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv, these are the 3 governors of the universe. They are the Ishvaras. Creation, sustenance, destruction. That is Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. And the Brahman, or Akshara Brahman, has within, that is the infinite consciousness. Nirakara Swarupa of Akshara Brahma. And there's a Sakara Swarupa also, which we'll talk about in Vachanamrut later on. So the Nirakara Swarup, Nirakara Brahma, is consciousness. That's what Shankaracharya ji is referring to here. That the Atma, the substance of the Atma, the Jivatma, and the substance of the Nirakara Brahma are the same. It is Chidananda. It is Satchidananda. It is formless light, divine light. But not light like this kind of light that we see. It is a conscious light. Jisko hum kehte hai, Chaitanya Prakash. You see, this is the word. Chaitanya means what? It is a dynamic consciousness. See, like every living being, we say is Chaitanya. Chaitanya has Atma, is life. Isn't it so? Like, for example, don't we feel our life within we're alive? That is Chaitanya. That is what that is. So the Akshara Brahma is Chaitanya. So the word Chaitanya means it is a dynamic substance that is the divine reality itself, is a dynamic, actual, infinite reality. That is called Chaitanya. And that is Nitya, not Anitya. That is Shankaracharya ji is putting this word Anitya here all the way up to Dehadi Brahma Paryante, from Deha Adi. Continue Deha, then everything else, everything in this world, the Svargalok, higher loks, everything A to Z, right? From the ant to the Brahmaji. See, Gopalan Swami, in Gopalan Swami's Vato, one of the Paramahansas of Bhagavan Swami, he's talked about the ego from the ant to the Brahma. What a statement. And he said everybody is stuck in that ego. Deha Buddhi, Kidi and Kidi thi Brahmaji Sudhi Ame Joi. There's some verse like that, I have to look it up. But he's basically saying that the Deha Bhav, the feeling that this is me, extends up to Brahma. Now, obviously, Brahmaji is a creator of the universe, so we cannot understand as a form of God. So, unka jo ahankar hota hai, we cannot say that they have ahankar. We don't have any right to say that, because we don't understand what that is. But Bhagavan Swaminarayan has mentioned it, that if you are interested You're a great mukta, great highly evolved being, but you want to know how the universes are created. You want to be able to sustain the universes. You want the mechanics of the universes and all that knowledge. Then the supreme, the mool swarup of the Paramatma that is within Akshara Brahma, jisko Aksharatit Paramatma kehte hain, that by the will of the ultimate form of God, from that divine will, the Jivatma as a mukta is then given the chance to be a Brahma. He could go from Jiv Koti into Ishwar Koti. So it is possible that the Jivatma has even become Brahma in the past. We ourselves may have been a Brahma in the past. That is possible. But after that life is done, then we come back into as Ishvara, or it could potentially come back into the Sansar also. So this is mind-boggling stuff. This is not anything that is within our purview to understand. All we can say is that right now in the human body, we have the capability of going in 4 different places when the body ends. We can wind up in Swarga Loka, because it's the heavenly regions because of good deeds, punya. That's one possibility. Second possibility, we come back into this Prithvi Loka, into this type of world. Third possibility, because of negative action and harmful, wind up in the Narka Loka, the lower regions. And the fourth possibility is for moksha, to out of the Brahmand into the Mukta realm, into the higher realm of consciousness. These are the 4 possibilities. Vivek Chudamani, Bhagavad Gita, Vachanamrut, Brahma Sutra, all of these scriptures, they are talking about the 4th possibility. Just Vivek Chudamani is for those who want moksha, those who want to realize that I am the Brahman, and that in that realization, to be absorbed in that realization. So to move into that, we are just trying to understand Vairagya. Vairagya is a phenomenal realization that nobody belongs to me and everybody is mine. Both of these two things are together. There's no boundary. See, inside the realm of Maya, there are all kinds of boundaries. This is my family, this is my kutum, this is this. Yes, and those boundaries are also real. They're not that they are to be ignored. Of course, you have to have responsibility for your family. You have to earn a living. You have to live in the sansar, the way the sansar is going, and maybe help the sansar modify forward. True. That is why the Durga Upasana, the bhakti of the goddess, is absolutely essential, so that we don't have problems in the material world. Isn't it so? We are living in the material world, and the deity that is in charge of the material world is Durga Devi. Nobody else is in charge directly. She's in charge, completely in charge of this entire material world. And that is why when we do the Chamunda Devi mantra, when we do any Durga mantra, Argala Stotra, Kilaka Stotra, every kind of the Durga Saptashati mantras are there. Many other Devi Suktas are there, mantras. All of the Siddha Kunjika, which is the extract of it all. When we do that as a bhakti, we are asking the great divine power of the Paramatma, that is the goddess, to bless us, and so that we don't have obstacles in this world. Who wants bad health? Nobody. Body should be healthy. Body must be healthy. Mind must be healthy. You must have enough money and financial power also. You must have good relationships with the family. You must be able to move in the world and experience the world in a very nice way. What is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, if you have that and you have the full range of experience of Prakriti, now watch this point carefully. If you actually have that, then we are in a situation when we are ready to begin to evolve into Vairagya. Vairagya is not escapism. Vairagya doesn't mean that somebody who has nothing, very little, is a poor person in any country in the world, has Vairagya. That person has poverty, unfortunately. But that same person could get jobs and position and good health and wealth, and which has happened, they could wind up tremendously attached to the sansar with a great deal of fear. Some people who've experienced poverty or hard time in life, they're not able to spend money even after they're multimillionaires. They cannot spend it. They cannot spend hardly anything, because they don't have vairagya. You see, money is there. It's a raw power. If it is not used, then what is the use of it? We're not going to take it with us. Vairagya is a realization that not a single dollar, not a single cent or a rupee, not a single person, not a single vehicle, not a single piece of clothing or anything we own is going to come with us. When we realize this, then we are alive. That is real living, actually. That is the vitality, as J. Krishnamurti beautifully mentioned, and I love this phrase, vitality of death. It's a tremendous vitality where every kind of experience is available for us in the sansar. Yes, if you want to go and take some tours and trips and do and meet family members and have wide range of experience, have them. But having those experiences gives you the realization through having those experiences of their limitedness, and from that limitedness, more probing, more satsang, more examination brings us to that realization of jihasa, ya, darshana, shravanadhi bhihi. It brings us to that realization. This is a realization that Shankaracharya ji is talking about. This is an internal opening through the experiences of the world. That's why in Satsang we say Dhanyo Grahastha Ashramaha. Jo Grahastha hai, and this is very true. Actually, if you have the proper connection with the scriptures, Satsang, Gurus, really great sages and all, and we have a good Grahastha Ashram, Grahastha Ashram is the ideal place where this Brahma Vidya can be realized. Maybe more than other ashramas. Because in Grahastha Ashram, you have the full range of experience. You have money with you, you have family with you, you have job with you, you have home, you have this. But the cautionary thing about Grahastha Ashram, isme bahut savdani chahiye. One must be ready internally to deal with what's going to come there, because it's a lot of responsibility. One has to be strong physically, mentally, financially, economically, educationally. In every way, one has to be strong before going inside that Grahastha Ashram. Otherwise, one will be crushed completely inside there. One will be crushed like a crushed tomato. वो जो crushed tomato का कहना आता है ना Acme में. You see how this is the state of most grahasthas in this world. They are totally smashed. And to prevent that from happening, the satsang and this preparation and this knowledge right from childhood that this is the goal. Grahastha Ashram and the experiences of the senses, darshana, shravanadi bhi, shravan meaning the hearing, seeing, touch, all of these experiences available through Grahastha Ashram, they are a doorway, a means to vairagya. If this understanding is there in the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, if this realization comes at that time, whole life is beautiful. If it doesn't come, there's all kinds of trouble. Guaranteed. 100% trouble is there when there's not this realization from the beginning. And everybody's journey is their own. Because what will happen, one will get attached more and more to the experiences of the senses and will get stuck somewhere. Now, everybody's journey is different. I'm just making a general statement. But if you go into Grahastha Ashram with the realization that you want to experience the world and you see it with a good balancing all the way around, so you enjoy the world. Jisko bhukti kehte hai. Bhukti means what? The enjoyment of the world. And then what Shankaracharya ji is saying here, he's saying anitya bhogavastuni. From that experience of bhukti, one begins to realize that it is anitya, that is impermanent. Then that viveka comes, that nitya anitya vastu viveka, which we mentioned before, and from that realization comes vairagya. And in that vairagya then extends all the way up to Brahmaji. What a link this is! Absolutely amazing link. From where to where? And such a being can be living in this world with compassion for all. Karuna Sindhu. When this level is reached, there is only one emotion, and that is karuna, meaning divine emotion. Sab emotion to hai, but they have all been transmuted into divinity. Purna divyata, purna prem, purna ananda, purna karuna, purna divyata, purna seva, purna nirman bhav, purna jnana, purna bhakti, purna shakti, purna mukti, purnamadam purnamadaha, purnat purnamudachyate, purnasya purnamadaya, purnameva vishishyate. That is the highly evolved being. And that is the krupa, that is the real. This happens by anugraha. ये भगवान की स्पेशल कृपा होती है भक्त पर who wants this. This thing that Sachin is describing is only going to be given by God to somebody who only wants that. It will not be given to anybody else because they don't want it. God is ready to give completely openly. These scriptures and these ideas, the gurus, everything is wide open. Who really wants it? In Swaminarayan Sampradaya, as I mentioned before, Nishkuranand Swami, he said in Gujarati, Kholi kholi ne kholiyu khara khapawada ne khotere. I said, I have looked around and seen who has that intensity to realize these things. But when the intensity awakens, then it continues forward and forward. And Bhagwan ki guarantee hai, Sri Krishna Bhagwan, Gita mein guarantee dete hai that if you are on this spiritual path to realize God, I will make circumstances in such a way you will always have yoga kshema vaham vyaham. You will have the contact, this opportunity, circumstance, whatever you need in your life so you can reach that destination. It's my responsibility. Bhagwan swayam kehte. So what do we have to worry about? This thing in my life, I have experienced this so many times. So many times. This verses to me, they're not just verses. There's so much experience I have behind this. Because of the things that have happened, that have continually brought that yoga kshema vaham vyaham back again and again. Sometimes things get destroyed, something new gets created. Why all that thing happens? So that we can have vairagya. Sometimes, actually, it was in Swaminarayan Sampradaya. Some of the gurus have stated in there that when Bhagwan ki jab krupa hoti hai, things begin to go away, things are taken away, and each person's journey is his own. God knows how to mold that individual. So things get reset. See, इसमें एक बात है, तन की जाने, मन की जाने, जाने चित्त की चोरी, इसके आगे क्या छुपा है जिसमें हाथ में दोरी. तो भगवान के हाथ में दोरी है ही. तो तन की जाने, मन की जाने, जाने चित्त की चोरी. All the secrets we have. तन की जाने, मन की जाने, जाने चित्त की चोरी. इसके आगे क्या छुपाए जिसके हाथ में दोरी. भगवान तो अंतर में ही रहते हैं, उनको तो सब कुछ मालूम है. He knows A to Z what you're doing, what you're thinking, everything. So when we realize this connection that the Paramatma we're looking for sitting inside of me, inside of all of us, then the question we have to ask is, what do we want from God? We want something from God, but the highest devotees want only God. Wanting something from God is one thing. Wanting only God is another. And then we could say, yeah, we want to have all of this good life and everything. Yes, we should have that. And we also want bhukti or mukti. That is where Shiv Shakti come into play. So they combine together into bhukti or mukti. They set the foundation for both. That is the extraordinary idea that is here, that we are able to evolve through the world, but to be so much on guard not to be trapped inside the temporary aspects of the reality. That's why the word anitya, this word anitya means anitya. This is not permanent. Who is permanent here? How many people have we known in our lives that we knew that are no longer around us? You can make a list. Either we know them personally or in other ways. And so we see the whole sansar as anitya. But by seeing it as anitya, our relationship to the sansar changes. It changes this way, that the individual who is seeing the sansar as anitya is anointed by divine vision for krupa, that bhakta, that mukta sees the world outside with karuna, with grace. It never ever gets disturbed by anything outside. वही ज्ञान है. Sacha Gyan. Sacha Gyan is not information. Somebody might say, oh Sachin, you are a Gyani, you know so many verses. That is not the definition of Gyan. Gyan kuch alag baat hai. Gyan is a internal seeing things as they are with so much grace, compassion, karuna, with the clarity that the ocean is there, ocean of consciousness is there. But we don't know that. We're not aware of that. It's like the fish that doesn't know that it's inside the ocean. Does the fish know that it's inside the ocean? It doesn't even know what is ocean. But it lives in the ocean, it breathes in the ocean, does everything, it reproduces and mates and eats and everything inside the ocean only. But it doesn't have any concept of the ocean. And it's like there's a bhajan, I think it was Kabir Das, somebody's bhajan, that the fish is thirsty in the ocean. ऐसा कुछ भजन है in Hindi. I don't remember the words right now. Our situation is like this. We are thirsty for God when we are surrounded only with God. What a situation that is. This is the Brahma Vidya, Ishavasya Sarvam, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, Jya Juvete Ramaji, Bijuna Bhasere. All these beautiful ideas are all around us. It is such a blessing to have a contemplation. I just want to offer small prayer and I just want to pray to the Supreme Lord, to all the great sages, to all the great devotees, to all the scriptures, that they bless us on this journey so that we may have the vision that Shankaracharya ji is talking about, that the Vachanamrita is talking about, that the great sages are talking about, and that we can live this life with its full potentiality. For its 100% potential can be lived by holding these words within, holding the grace of the Gurus within, and then living the life that we have to live, but the life that we have that will speak. Rather than speaking just words, it's life that speaks. Charitra vato kare, vartan vato kare. In Swaminarayan Sampradaya, there were many sadhus during time of Maharaj. Maharaj meaning Bhagwan Swaminarayan. And they were not learned in all these scriptures. So he said, you don't worry about that. You just live a pure saintly life. Your life will speak volumes. That is the only thing that actually speaks volumes, not just talking about these scriptures and making recordings. That's okay, we're doing that for some seva and all that, but that's not the actual thing. Actual thing is living it. You have to live it so that it emits, God emits through that living saintly. Vartan vato kare. In Gujarati, it is spoken like this. So, thank you very much, and we'll continue tomorrow.